Hello everyone, my name is Will with Ratings Game Music. Today we are reviewing Darren Aronofsky's new Austin Butler starring film, Caught Stealing. Before we get into it, make sure to like, share, subscribe, let everybody know how much you love the channel. We really appreciate it. Now we're going to dive into the top 5 things about Caught Stealing. Number 5, Aronofsky's direction. Having just rewatched and reviewed Aronofsky's seminal film Black Swan, I was especially eager to check out his latest work. This is a filmmaker who is infamous for being provocative and diverse in terms of the films that he makes and the reactions that he elicits. And all of the marketing for Caught Stealing had pitched it as very much a run-of-the-mill 90s set crime thriller. So I was really interested to see how Aronofsky's very distinct work would apply to this seemingly mundane story. And the reality is, in fascinating ways. It doesn't always work, but I think Aronofsky does bring some of his trademark visual flair to the proceedings. There's a very concentrated, very omniscient sort of visual language that the film utilizes that kind of captures the chaos and makes that feel even more chaotic because of this objective view that the camera is taking. One of my favorite moments in the film is when Austin Butler's character gets like blackout drunk, and the way that Aronofsky externalizes that internal feeling is he has the camera constantly gliding forward or pulling away from Austin Butler, so it feels like it's evoking that exact same kind of reaction in the viewer, where you feel unsteadied, you feel ill at ease. And I think that's just great direction, and Aronofsky has a lot of really interesting choices throughout the whole film that I think are really great. Number 4, Liev Schreiber and Vincent D'Onofrio are amazing. So Caught Stealing has a whole lot of A-list ensemble cast members who kind of pop up for various bits, and they're all wonderful, but the cream of the crop for me is Liev Schreiber and Vincent D'Onofrio. These are two storied actors giving really funny, really intimidating, really menacing performances. And my favorite parts of the movie are when they come crashing into it. It almost makes me wish that they were in it a little bit more. I think the film could have used a little bit more of that energy throughout. Having said all of that, they're amazing with what they get, and I can't endorse them enough. So good. Number 3, the music is good and bad. The score for Caught Stealing was written and composed by Rob Simonson and was then recorded by the band Idols. The resulting score feels disjointed and entirely wrong for the movie. It's utilized in the most blunt and rudimentary of ways. I think the music of the score in and of itself is quite good. It's energetic and entertaining, but as a living, breathing part of the film, it feels like painfully on the nose and oblivious at times. A huge part of the problem is this pervasive percussion at play throughout, which feels rudimentary in terms of how it's paired with the action. Like, you'll see someone throw a punch and then there'll be a big snare hit. It just, no disrespect to Idols, the music is really good, but in terms of how it merges with the actual things in the film, it feels very much like Baby's first film score. And at moments where you would hope the music would be elevating the emotions of the scene, it instead feels bogged down in like the literal physical actions on screen, and it kind of deflates the whole movie as a result. Number 2, what is the tone? So this brings us to the biggest problem that I personally had with the film, which is just, what the f*** is the tone of this movie? On the one hand, Charlie Huston's screenplay and the marketing for the film seem to very much be selling it as like a fast-paced, throwback, white-knuckle action thriller. But on the other hand, there's this really pervasive sense of nihilism and like mournfulness that permeates the picture. I assume these qualities came from Aronofsky, but numerous characters throughout the film meet very grisly ends, which are all captured with tragic earnestness and sincerity. It's like the film is attempting to settle into this propulsive, fun-loving groove, but keeps screeching to a halt every 15 minutes or so to touch on incredibly heavy subject matter that I'm not sure it's equipped to touch on. It's not hard to imagine a version of this that plays more like Martin Scorsese's After Hours, which is a film that was clearly a huge reference point for Aronofsky, Aronofsky, but where Scorsese's film feels cohesive in its subversiveness and perverse actions, Caught Stealing can't seem to decide if it's playing to that kind of a gonzo midnight audience, or if it's aiming for a more conventional, catching this at home on Netflix on a Sunday afternoon crowd. The result is a film that feels caught between those two extremes and can never quite make ends of it. And of course, the number one thing about Caught Stealing is Austin Butler sells the ever-living out of this movie. The entire cast of the film is great, from Regina King to Zoe Kravitz to Matt Smith and beyond, but to be frank, none of the ancillary characters get enough screen time here to really make anything more than an initial impression. Instead, the film pairs audiences directly with Austin Butler's protagonist, and it hangs the entire film on his performance and his ability to sell the large character arc that's going on here. And you know what? He does so with aplomb. There are absolutely gripes to be had with regard to how the story plays out and how the film has a penchant for having his character telegraph beats of his character arc in like painfully on the nose fashion, but miraculously Butler sells even the most egregious of these with articulation and depth. I've never been like a huge fan of Butler's, but I do think this is among his best performances, if not his very best one. His work here is multifaceted, layered, and showcases a real diversity from the young performer that basically saves the movie. So the grade for Caught Stealing is a C+. I think the film is good, it's conflicted, and feels like it's at odds with itself for a lot of its runtime. By trying to play things so straight and up the middle, Aronofsky kind of inadvertently lets more of himself in, and it makes for a deeply interesting watch, but it also makes for a frequently dissonant one. I don't think Caught Stealing can stand shoulder to shoulder with Aronofsky's best work, and it's certainly not going to be one of my favorites of the year by any means, but I think it's worth a watch, it's a fun time, and it's a fascinating misfire if nothing else.